is waiting on fries. That you don't get it? You don't. What do you mean you don't get waiting on fries?
Hopefully the customer never hears waiting on fries, but all this time on the entree and it's perfectly executed and then you're like,
ready to go.
I forgot to fire the fries.
I just always use that when I forgot to put somebody's order in, and I was like, hey, I'm just waiting on the fries. It's gonna be 2 more minutes. Realistically, I come back 10 minutes with the food.
Exactly. They just know that their food's not there and the server said they're still waiting on fries.
I guess we're just waiting on fries.
All right, red light's on.
Boom. That means let's do this thing.
Hit the ground rolling.
We got some things to talk about. Let's just shadow them real quick so everyone knows what we're talking about today. You ready, guys?
Ready to go.
I've been ready.
We're going to hit on, restaurant owners' fixed mindsets where you're living in this little bubble. You're happy, you're paying your bills, you're doing your things, but the world outside of you is moving, and you've been in your restaurant, you have no idea what the fuck's going on outside, right?
It's important to avoid getting tunnel vision.
Yeah, we got to make sure that we're not just stuck in a fixed mindset, and we got to keep on exploring ways to be more profitable and open up our 3rd, 4th, 5th locations. Let's do it. Also, breaking news, 25% indoor occupancy in New York. It's coming.
September 30th.
I saw that today.
Yeah.
And then 50% occupancy. That's also coming.
To be determined
Let's not
November 2nd?
Let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
And then, these little things.
Second. You snuck that in there.
And then these little things that we've got happening with little black dots all over the place, and people use their phones, and then they take a fake picture of it, and then they go right to the website using these, what are they?
QR codes, that's what you must be talking about.
Damn right, that's what we're talking
I
about.
thought you were talking about dust
But
on the screen.
we'll touch on some marketing, because there's a lot of awesome ways that you can use these QR codes that now going forward, everybody's going to know how to use them. You know what I'm talking about, guys?
You should know already.
Yeah.
Unless you've been, living under a rock or something.
Completely. So, Just, you're trugging along.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, you're trugging along here. Chugging? Chugging.
Chugging.
You're chugging along,
There you
choo-choo
go.
train. You're operating a business. It's working. You're paying your bills. You're making profits. Your investors are happy. You're happy. You're going to get to restaurant 3, 4 eventually. And a lot of times I find that you're doing things in here that are outside the box. Things that are kind of cutting edge. Things that most guys are not doing.
You're talking about me?
I was talking about you. It wasn't like a compliment. I'm just saying.
It kind of was a compliment. That was a
Yeah,
pretty nice
It was a compliment. I
Yeah.
appreciate the compliment.
It wasn't intended to be. I was just stating facts. But so what happens?
We could be doing more though. I don't think we're the super cutting edge that you're talking about. We could definitely be doing more.
And I think that's a lot of the puzzle, though, is the fact that your mentality going into doing any type of marketing, any type of new business piece, is we can be doing more. And I think that a lot of guys, as they've been doing this for 10 years, 15 years, they have their cookie cut way of doing something. And if they're successful, they'll duplicate the cookie cut over and over again without actually trying to figure out what new ways to do things.
I mean,
how do we make more money?
There is that old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And sure, maybe guys are looking at it like, I'm being safe. It's been working this long this way. Why would I change it? But then, take guys that have been in this business for 20, 30 years now that have maybe 50 spots or so, not necessarily a chain, but individual locations where they're all becoming outdated year by year because they're not actually moving with the times and they're not really seeing what's outside besides monitoring the cash sheets and dealing with fires day to day that they're putting out. This happens all the time. But
Well, I think now it's happening even more because it's such a closed thing. I was just talking with Mike about it. That was kind of my point, to get out, to go to another place to see what's happening at other
Just to see how
restaurants
other people
and
are doing it.
see if you're missing something on the operational standpoint because you're so closed in and focused on what we're doing that we might be missing something that people are picking up on.
totally. The times are changing in front of us, and I think that
Speaking of which, I was just at Maine. I was up in Maine last weekend.
I saw
Went to
that.
Maine Beer Company.
It looked like a lot of fun.
It was the second place actually all the places I've eaten out since March have been in Maine, which is weird.
That is kind of
Like
weird.
2 months ago, I went to go help my dad move up there, and I ate at a lobster place and got lobster rolls. And then this is the second time I went out, other than Smokehouse, was the Maine Beer Company. And it was pretty good
Looked good.
experience. They,
explain to me the building.
okay, pretty good sized facility. like not a monster brewery, but definitely bigger than your small like independent brewery.
Sure.
Bigger than Broken Bow, smaller than Captain Lawrence.
Well, it's irrelevant to somebody listening.
I'd say,
But to people in the
yeah,
area, they
I get
know.
it. Yeah, equal. I'd say about the same size as Captain Lawrence.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a 30,000 square foot spot.
Yeah, something
maybe.
like that. And what sucks is I found out when I was there. Well, not sucks, but sucks for them maybe that they had just expanded their brewery to like increase to have like a tap room and dining hall and all this stuff. They had just expanded end of 2019, getting ready for this season, and then it just never happened. It never happened.
And it's funny, although they'll, obviously take some form of hit if they do have smaller occupancy levels. By expanding, though, even half occupancy, still a handful of people.
Yeah,
You're
no,
not
for
hurting.
sure,
And I
for
think the
sure.
people that are going to make out of this, like, not unscathed, but better than others, are those that have enough space to actually do something clever.
And they had a good parking lot, a good sized parking lot, so they were able to take half of that, put a big tent in, have a bunch of tables and stuff. They had it down pretty good. Like their system was set up pretty well, in and out, 90-minute cap on the table.
You got to do that in busy spots, too. It's like you can't have somebody just sitting, lounging all day, drinking beers. You got to kind of turn and burn after your, fifth beer, then you're starting to slow down.
Yeah.
Fourth beer, starting to slow down a little bit. Like,
I mean, I put in work, but yeah, I get it.
yeah. But, circle back. Things that you're doing like that, getting outside of your own restaurant, finding that time to actually detach, seeing what's happening, in other places, utilizing social media, which we've hit on multiple times before, cruising through Instagram, seeing what other restaurants are doing. How many restaurants do you follow on your Instagram?
All of them.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
like-
see one, I follow one.
Yeah, and it helps you, though, at the end of the day. How many times
Probably
do
like 500
you
at least.
see somebody doing something groundbreaking where you're like, oh, it's actually a good idea?
Doesn't
And-
even necessarily have to be groundbreaking. Just something different, something out of the ordinary.
Yeah,
makes
just
you
a new
think
trend
about
of any
something
kind.
differently.
Like that might be the new trend.
Yeah, and you'll execute that over here
Sorry,
on
I
this
thought I was
end.
going somewhere with that. Just,
No, you went. But it's true. Somebody, again, like I said, 20 years in this industry, kind of maybe on the brinks of burning out a little bit, especially with this thing happening above his head. He's not looking at what the other guys are doing, I don't think, for the most part. You're just trying to figure out how to stay above water, keep on treading, where you miss some of the things that people are doing. We've said it countless times also. Doing these family restaurant packs as far as takeout orders go, right? Put a $45 pack, $60 pack together, feed a family of 4. Now you're moving things out of your fridge.
throwback.
That was like the original first thing that restaurants were pivoting into, sure.
Yeah.
But like these are the things.
CBT to food for the family.
Food for the family. Feed the family.
But these are the things that you miss if you're not really, looking outside to see what's going on out there. But some of these guys, too, on the other end of the spectrum, have that mentality where if they're doing okay, then why change anything?
Yeah. If the customer's already happy with the product that you already have, why go try to bring them something new that maybe they won't enjoy as much?
Interesting that you would say that. I've been watching The Imagineering Story on Disney,
Okay.
which is actually, it's very interesting. And I didn't think this was going to tie in at all before, but since you just said that, it kind of does tie into it. There's a point where Bob Iger, who's like the current CEO or whatever of Disney, is talking about how they have to change their theme parks and their rides to keep Disney parks relevant, right? They can't keep the same ride forever.
Right.
But every time they go back to a ride, it seems like they're going to Tower of Terror or
No longer exists.
or It's a Small World or like
Right.
one of those rides. They go and they announce they're going to change it, and the Disney diehards like start flipping out,
Yep.
like
'Cause
"You
it's a
can't-
classic. You can't get rid of
change
that."
that. It's whatever, blah blah blah." And they just have to they say they have to move forward, keeping Disney authenticity in mind, but knowing that they have to better for the guest experience. And they say sometimes the people that are rising up about changing It's a Small World, and you say, well, when was the last time you were at
You were actually on.
you
It's a
were
Small
at
World.
Disney World and went to It's a Small World? Oh,
Yeah.
when I was a kid. How old are you now? I'm 48.
Well.
I'm like, okay, so you haven't rode the ride in 30 years. So, I mean, we need to get you to ride the ride again, right? So why would you?
I wouldn't be mad if
Did
it
they
doesn't
actually
change.
define the point where they have to make a change? Did
Yeah,
they-
so they said they go into every change knowing their guests, knowing their own authenticity. and say you have to change to stay relevant. You just have to be careful to stay true to who you are. And then in the end, the guest usually is happy with the change, even though they fought you tooth and nail about it.
Man, I need a Disney Plus password.
Those that same idea parallels into like changing a menu when you have regulars who like the exact same dish over and over again.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
I
that's
actually told Mike that. And I was like, it hit me to our menu discussion.
Yep,
Can't
that's
take
it.
that off the menu. So and so will be, they've been ordering it forever.
Yeah, but then you just gotta tell them to try the new thing.
Yeah, just like, no, we did this. It's better, dude.
Does that not just come down to the sheer statistics of things, though? Like, yeah, I understand that you love this one single dish, but you're one of 6 people that order this per month.
Exactly.
It's all
And then it's
product
got-
mix and seeing where it goes. Maybe it was really popular back in the day, and now it's not so popular. Time to revamp it.
Yeah. Side note, I would actually be a little torn down if It's a Small World had to change. I feel like that's one of like the one fixtures of Disney.
But
Disney needs
that's
a huge
the thing.
upgrade.
They have changed it, and they showed in the thing. It's changed like 20 times, but they change it the right way.
Can't wait.
So that every time you go, you get it. You're just like, okay, cool. It's
I
still-
didn't notice any changes last time I
Exactly,
went.
but
That was
it's
like 3
different.
years ago.
But
He's
it's
thinking about
different.
the angry letter he's gonna send to Disney when he gets home.
Like the most recent
Dear
one.
Iger.
Yeah, so like that's the thing. So they're changing it, but keeping it relevant to their brand.
Bring
right?
back
They
It's a
understand
Small World.
It's a Small World is a Disney staple, but they have to make it so when a kid, like a 5-year-old today, goes on the ride,
It'll make sense.
it
then.
has to be relevant to them,
Yeah.
and so that they grow up with when they're 40 are just as upset when they change. It's a Small World again.
Now, to figure this, right? If you're, an older guy that's been in this business for a long time, and you haven't gotten to restaurant number 2, number 3, my question is it feasible to pay somebody to do these things for you? These market research ideas and things to come up with? Is that available? Is that even an idea? Hey, I need some graphics, or I need a movie, I need something done like that. Can you afford to keep doing that?
How do you mean? Like pay someone out, like outsource the whole thing?
Correct.
and
So you
don't even
can
be
keep
involved?
going on about worrying about whatever fire you're putting out in your establishment.
I mean, those companies definitely do exist. Are you asking if they work?
I'm saying, can a guy like that maybe doesn't know what's going on outside have some type of idea of who to bring in to help him out and get him back on board? And maybe I need almost like a PR guide to some extent.
I think you can do that, and you should do that. You just can't be detached from it, though, because if you're detached from it, then just like I said, then the authenticity isn't there, and if the authenticity is lacking, then it just fails. So, you might not be a marketing guy, you might not be a PR guy. You got to hire those
You
people
gotta hire
to
the
come
right
in,
person to
but
do it
you
for
got to
you.
be, you have to be working 50-50 with those people. Otherwise, it's not you, and your guests will know that.
You think somebody could be successful being like the Dave Portnoy of being like an old Italian restaurant owner, just like out there with his camera taking videos of himself screaming at people?
For sure, if that's them, yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking authenticity. I mean, it would definitely be something different.
To be honest, it sounds like something that would go viral.
Yeah.
To be honest,
I took out this camera, now I just got lines down the street
Yeah.
from my restaurant.
like the soup Nazi or something.
I would go check them out.
No soup for you.
So I mean, it's important to keep your
I can't
radar
believe I
open.
made a Seinfeld reference. I hate that show.
I'm not mad at any Seinfeld reference ever. But it's important to keep your head outside and not go into that tunnel vision. Like, I wish there was a button for Instagram and Facebook to just completely reset my funnel. I want a brand new, non-funnelized
You gotta reset
view.
your algorithms.
You can't, though. There's no possible way to do it.
There's no one single button, but you can do it.
I'm shaking my head that you can't do it.
You
know,
can start
there's
a new
something you can try.
Instagram.
All right, guys. Today we dropped big news, or we should say that big news is now
just
happening.
dropped. Yeah.
Yeah, news has just dropped. We're gonna start laying people back in New York. This isn't a big deal for everybody everywhere.
New York City.
New York City. Yeah.
We've been
Yep.
doing this already. for
Correct.
a long
That's
in
why.
Westchester.
That's why it's a big deal.
And it's not a big deal to everybody out there anyway, because in a lot of states, people have been able to come inside restaurants anyway.
Did
Honestly,
you see the $2 billion lawsuit that the New York City restaurants
I
were?
think that's what prompted
Yeah, it's not
this
going anywhere.
decision.
Do you think so?
I think so. Why wouldn't it?
Now, I totally did not realize that you could not go inside of a restaurant or a bar in New York City until recent weeks. we went out into Brooklyn, and I realized everyone was sitting outside. I didn't see really anybody inside. And as we were sitting outside of this bar, which just so happened to have this little parking lot area next door to it, somebody mentioned that, like, I can't wait until they let people go into restaurants. And I said, wait, what? Because I know New York and Westchester, and, you know, we're going inside restaurants. I had no idea. So talking about this there, I completely baffled. I said, how are any of these places staying alive right now? And this was all industry people here, and they were like, they're really not. They're like on the border about to be shutting down a lot of places here. And that's only going to let 25% of people in the next month. Can you survive like that?
No.
I feel like if you weren't already doing a lot of takeout and a lot of outdoor seating, you're probably not going to open up at 25% capacity. You're not going to be able to really make money like that.
At 25% capacity without takeout.
I don't think so. You know, and I know nothing about the New York City landscape because it's just an entirely different animal. The rents are crazy. Mm-hmm. You know, we're talking about, you know, a high rent where we are is like 60 plus a square foot, and there's places in the city that are $350 a square foot. It's like, I don't even know how to do the math of like what you need to do day in and day out to do that. And the volume and the foot traffic that's based off of, which is all the people that travel in and out of the city and all the people that work in and out of the city, it's just not there.
Yeah.
You know, so I can't even begin to imagine how to wrap my head around figuring out the financials at 25% capacity of how to operate it or if it's going to work. I mean, if we were at 25% capacity, if we were half of what we are right now, I don't think we could do it. So,
and when we also say, though, New York City, you know, what you're more so referencing, I feel like, is Manhattan itself. Because the outer boroughs they're different. They're still not as expensive as being in Manhattan.
Right. There's still more than here, though.
Oh, correct. Sure. Depending, correct. But, of course, the foot traffic is not in Manhattan anymore because you have to keep in mind that a lot of the people that go into Manhattan are commuters. They're people that live in Westchester. They're people that live in Connecticut. They take those trains in. They come from Jersey side to go to work. Sure, they come from the boroughs as well. And now you're looking at a city that's somewhat desolate in some senses where they don't have to return to work anymore. We're doing Zoom meetings and, you know, learning how to wear boxers on the bottom but business on the top. Like, that's the world that we're currently living in right now.
The mullet's going to make a comeback.
Yeah, I'm not mad.
I read something about how it's making a comeback in, like, London and across the seas. The mullet's already on its way back.
What were you reading?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know what this was. But, like, all right, so you don't know how profitable you have to even be to maintain having a restaurant. But we could say this at least. If at first it's going to be 25% for the first month, and then it's going to go up to 50% for the following month as far as occupancy rates go, there's a lot of restaurants, I don't think, that are going to open up at a 25% occupancy rate.
I think that's a fair statement.
I would agree with that as well.
It's, you know, we've already gone down in...
But, I mean, financials aside, that's also probably a smart decision in terms of just waiting to see exactly how this is going to plan out, you know?
Sure, and I mean, that's
you
part
don't
of the
want
financials.
to bring all your employees back and tell them, all right, we're going back at it, we're back to work, and then all of a sudden you get shut down again because you're not making any money.
Like, to be honest, at 25%, anytime you're increasing your service, that's like it's a big commitment to say, okay, we're going to open service. Whatever, if you're open for takeout only, your labor has been, you know, just your kitchen and maybe one person, two people expediting the front of the house, which would just be pickup and payment, etc. Right? Once you start committing yourself to service, that's a whole nother staff you got to put on. Does 25%? You have two full. One does 20. If you're full at 25%, right?
Is that enough revenue to make your employees want to be there?
And is that not is it enough for them to want to be there? Is it enough
to pay them to be there?
To pay them to be there for that labor to go up? Because, you know, even with the tip credit and all that stuff that we've talked about, it's still, you know, you're talking about percentage wise what your labor is going to be. Yep. So that's number one, and that's if you're full at 25%, right? That's assuming that you're full at 25%. We're at 50% right now that we're allowed to be. We're not full all the time at 50%. And the reason being is while the public is getting more and more comfortable with coming inside the restaurant,
It's not completely.
they're
back
still
yet.
not there. And it's like, would you like to sit inside or outside? Outside, 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 outside. We could take it inside. Outside, outside, outside. Well, we could take it inside. You know, so even if you're not full,
If the ability is there, maybe the demand's not there
yeah,
yet.
maybe the demand's not there. So then you have to take into that account. Like, okay, we can open inside, but how many people are going to want to sit inside?
Yeah.
So if we're at 25% capacity and I can only fill 12%, you know, maybe that's your real number is 12%. Like, well, you know, what are we
That's
doing?
also, though, let's take this into factor also. People don't want to sit inside in the summertime. They want to soak up as much of the summer as they can. And we do this time
Yeah.
and time again seasonally.
Yes, but in real life, you want to sit outside, and then when outside's full, but we can seat you inside. Okay, we'll sit inside,
Yeah.
For the most part, yeah.
right? But now it's like,
Maybe I'll go somewhere else, or maybe I'll come back later.
yeah, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. And the thing to note for our northeastern territory here is that it's going to start getting cold soon, and people are not going to be sitting outside anymore.
Yeah.
And that's toward the end of October side.
And that's the scary part.
And that is. And back to thinking about 25% occupancy right now, where you're saying, all right, sometimes we're not filling the inside to 50%. At that point where it starts getting cold outside, I think you will be filling the inside to 50%, no doubt. Because people don't want to sit outside anymore. Now they already have summer out of their mind. They've moved on to, you know, what the fall is. And I think we're trained as people in this area just to think like that.
I also think this area is going to have a bit of a head start because we already had the indoor dining for a couple months. You
Yeah,
know?
for sure. So it's the area's had a chance to get comfortable
Yeah,
with
it's
it.
going to be a slow start for the city who's just getting
that
rolling
first
now.
couple weeks when they said, okay, you can seat indoors,
Yeah.
literally nobody sat indoors.
I remember. I think I was here the first or second night, and like there was open tables while we were here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like all of them.
I think
Single table.
there was one other table. I think there was one other.
It
table.
was like jammed outside.
And then there was-
You would pull up, or I would pull up sometimes, be like, "Oh man, we're slammed. I gotta run in there," and then I run inside, and there's literally nobody in the restaurant. It's just all outside.
Back to thinking outside the box and doing creative things where we need to, be creative or die at the end of the
But
day.
you said, going into the winter months. That's. I'm still wary. What do you
Weary.
say?
I think you've
Weary.
got
Weary.
less to be nervous about other
No, I just
compared
meant
to
the pronunciation
Weary.
of the word. Weary or wary?
Weary.
Yeah.
Weary.
Weary.
But you've got less to
Weary.
be weary about compared to other people who haven't been doing the steady takeout and outdoor dining.
Yeah, but are we
business.
gonna get more capacity when we close outside? Are we gonna be? Can we open the bar?
I don't know about the capacity
know?
levels. I don't know if that's going to change, but
Those are the things that will offset as the temperature goes down.
I see what
know?
you're saying. But I see what you're saying. I think you've got less to be weary about though.
Is that an agree to disagree?
Yes,
Yeah, we're done.
we were ready to move on.
Don't throw me out.
Moving on
But
to
as I was gonna say before we cut out of here, I wanted to say that in thinking outside the box, it's been brought to my attention that some of these spaces that are currently outdoor rooftop areas, they still count as outdoor space.
yeah.
Even if you put a tarp and a tent above it, it's still an outdoor space.
Yeah, if you have a spot that you can tent and put a heater, then you're golden.
So, but this is a genius thing. Like, if you are somebody that has a rooftop and you've been happily serving
Yeah,
people
but how many
all summer
rooftop
long.
bars are there?
Yeah.
I agree. There's not a lot of them, but all I'm saying is, I'm giving props to those that are thinking outside the box, that are looking to tent their spaces, possibly.
You're giving props to people who have the ability to put a tent outside.
Yeah.
Way to be, dude.
Yeah, but not everybody's thinking about, hey, let me put a tent on the top floor. They've never
thing is,
done that. Really.
We've talked about putting a tent in the parking spaces that we have tented up so we can heat it. But now we have to weigh the money so we only have the permits for the space.
Yeah.
That's only going to go until mid-November. And then the village needs to clear the street because as we get into inclement weather possibilities and stuff like that, we can't have things in the street if we have to plow, etc.
Yep.
It's a little bit more dangerous if it's an icy road and someone slides off the road and crashes into the people, So you can't. I understand we can't have it all year.
It's also too much cost for another month and a half.
So that's what I'm saying. You have to weigh, do we rent a tent? Do we buy a tent? Is the money that we would spend on doing that is the money that would come in from being able to operate that a little bit more justify the cost of the tent, because it's not just you spend $1,000. If you make $1,000, then you lost $1,000.
Correct.
Right? It's not.
You have to make $2,000 to
You have
spend
to make.
1,000.
If you spend
Probably more than
1,000,
that.
you got to make 5,000.
Yeah.
That's the margin on it, just like anything
Ideal.
else.
All I'm saying, I was just trying to put you in profits. I know that we should be striving for more. I was just trying to explain profits.
And if you think you're the only one thinking about putting a tent, you're not, and that
Definitely
means
not.
those prices are not going to be cheap.
So are you suggesting getting on top of your tent game ahead of time before?
You should have done it already.
If you don't have a tent, it's too late.
At this point.
Unbelievable. By the way, I just went to the store. Paper towels are no longer a thing again. We're back to that. You can find toilet paper for aisles long, not one single roll of paper towel.
You heard it here first, folks. Go get your paper towels.
Jay's gonna
I haven't
cause a
seen
run on
that
paper
one yet,
towels.
but-
Yeah, me neither. I don't know what you're talking about, but
I've got plenty.
All right, so tell me, let's hit marketing real quick too. The QR codes, they're all over the place.
yeah.
I can't believe how long these have taken to actually be of use somewhere.
Dude, they were a dead technology a couple years ago.
Completely.
They've been a dead technology for a long time.
Well,
I'm
since
sorry. I said
1994.
not even, they were a dead technology 6 months ago.
Correct. It's absolutely insane. I designed a business card for one of my buddies about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I was like, I think we're finally at the point where like people could start using QR codes.
Nope.
So I snuck it into the bottom so somebody could just scan it. It's really tough when you go to events and everyone's handing cards out. Just let me scan the goddamn QR code and put the contact info in the phone. So I set the QR code up to do that exactly and include his personal website. All that stuff just turns it into a contact.
Beautiful.
Awesome stuff. How many people do you think knew how to use that at that point? How many do you
One.
think scanned it?
I'm gonna
It
say
was like
two.
me as a
You
test.
and the guy you told.
Yeah, and
you, like his girlfriend, maybe his mom.
yeah, I mean, they're still sitting on these business cards, I'm sure, by now. And now he's probably like, check this out. I got a QR code on. You know how to use it now, though, right?
It makes even more sense now because you don't want to be taking business cards from random people nowadays. Like you don't know where.
No,
they're
the
from.
QR code came in insanely helpful, especially right off the bat. And
Yep.
it's amazing to me how many people are like, oh, cool, that's pretty. Even now, and I feel like a lot of restaurants use
Yeah.
the QR code. Like,
Everybody's doing it.
use the QR code for a menu.
Yeah.
And I'm still seating people tonight that are saying, oh, that's such a good idea. And I was like, you have not seen this yet?
where
Like,
have
Yeah,
you-
these
where
things
have you
came out in
you haven't
94.
seen it, right? Like,
Or 96.
but I started thinking the possibilities of how to use. No one, just like you said, no one utilized it. No one even thought about the possibilities of how you can use it, what you could use it for. But it's because people weren't adept to it. They weren't using it every day. It was a weird thing for them. Now that people have it on their mind, they see it, scan it, and all this stuff. It has a ton of possibilities.
Absolutely.
And they're endless.
One, it made the menu so much better. I don't even want to go back to a regular menu. If when COVID's over and we can touch things again and etc. In my mind, I'm thinking that we're gonna stay with that QR code, and I want to build it into the table, so it's just right there in your seat, and you're just like, this is the Smokehouse QR code. And you sit down, boom, you got it, and you get on the phone. And there's reasons for that. One,
I think. Let me get it. You get to cut down on buying printed menus.
dude, that's like reason 5.
Oh.
Okay? Like that's definitely a reason, but it's reason 5. Number 1, yeah, you don't have to print
You don't have to
menus,
print
buy
menus anymore.
menus, do all that stuff. You change the menu seasonally, sometimes quarterly, sometimes seasonally,
Sometimes
whatever.
monthly, depending on
so
the stock.
even if you're doing permanent menus that are reusable, you're still printing 4, 5, 6, 7 times a year.
Yeah.
Anytime you want to make a change, if something's not working, you got to do this printing. But that's reason 5. You basically get someone sit at your table,
Mm-hmm.
take out their phone, scan it, and take the information, whatever information that you want them to take on their phone.
Right.
Do you know how hard people work to get before this to get you to do that? Right?
Yeah.
There are companies that are built on the idea of we will get people to take out their phone and scan your shit so you have information. And
Yeah.
that's their whole company
That's-
to get people to do that. And now people are just like, yeah, I'm going to scan your
People
phone.
are just doing it automatically.
I'm going to scan your QR code, get on my phone. Cool, I'm on your phone.
Yeah.
Right? You get that. You're into their phone.
As soon as they sit
You know what I
down.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, and people don't even realize it. You just slid into their phone. You
Yep.
get into somebody's phone these days,
You're in.
you're in that person's life.
Yeah.
So now, like, let's take this to the next level.
No, the next level. I'm sorry to cut you off, but the next level is, and we all know exactly what it
Taylor
is.
Swift has the best album of all time.
That's good.
And the next, I like it. I like what you did there. The next level is getting into your phone. What do we say all the time? We have a conversation. We talk about something, whatever. Then all of a sudden, the next time you're scrolling Instagram,
It pops up.
it pops up.
Yeah.
But you just got into their phone with like Smokehouse in your menu. You don't think everything in your phone just realized that you're looking at,
You're gonna get some more smoke.
your restaurant's menu. Like, why did you visit this restaurant? Why did you do
Google's
this?
gonna ask you, how was your
Yeah,
visit to
Google's
Smokehouse?
Google's gonna hit you. Next time you go on Instagram, maybe that's gonna hit your algorithm. Oh, you looked at this restaurant's menu. So, if you're doing the QR code correctly, right? You don't
Yeah.
want to just do a PDF drop on whatever
No.
that's not
You gotta
linked
open up the
anywhere.
website.
That's going to hit algorithms. So, like we did is we moved our menu to the QR code, but it's hidden on our website. So if you go to shtailgate.com,
Yeah.
you don't see the QR code page. But if you scan the QR code page, it goes right in there.
Yeah.
And now
you got the Smokehouse cookies.
yeah,
deep
now
on your phone.
the cookies are in there and all that stuff. But the best part, that's not even
not
even
even the
number
best
one.
part.
The best part is as soon as they scan that, it goes to that page. You can put whatever you want on that page.
Yep.
And basically manipulate.
them into looking at what you want to give
Yeah,
them
like
first.
this is what you want to get. So, for instance, we just put like right now it says eat and drink. So you scan the thing, it says eat and drink. Eat is the food menu, drink is the drink menu. I know. Crazy.
Groundbreaking.
Crazy stuff.
Revolutionary.
But the last week we brought back draft root beer we haven't had that since March. But for some reason Coke was having trouble producing Coke, right? Because COVID. I don't know. It's everybody's excuse now to be lazy and not be able to produce anything.
But now you can tell every person that comes in here, we have root beer again.
Right. So I put a banner right on top of the two menus.
Yeah.
There's a banner that says draft root beer back, in big letters right across the top. It's not intrusive. It's not like a pop-up because that's going to be annoying because I don't want to pop up menus. I'm trying to look at your menu.
Yeah.
But it just says draft root beer is back on tap.
How many root beers you sold this week?
Dude, I fucking sold a keg in like a day. It was. We don't sell that much root beer ever when it was like normal.
That's
and then all of a
impressive.
sudden, draft root beer right on top, and it's just every single one is root beer, root beer, root beer, root beer, root beer.
That's hilarious.
That really does. You just hit so many different points in such a
And that
extremely
was only
short.
the first 3 out of the 5.
Yeah, there's so much more.
Yeah, I mean the amount of points that you just hit in such a short amount of time that are like complete utter gems. I have some questions to ask you about things, and this will maybe help somebody that's not fully set up. Everyone figured out how to do the QR codes pretty much, but explain how you got the QR code set up. How'd you actually do that yourself?
There's like a website, QR code generator, and you just sign up.
So you generically put the QR code in,
Yeah.
and when you go to that website, it asks you where you want to send people.
Yeah. It says you could send it. You want it to go to a PDF. You want it to go to a website.
Gotcha.
You want to do a contact card.
And you chose a website.
We chose a website.
So you built out a website page on Smokehouse website, right?
Right.
shtailgate.com.
Right.
Not a shameless plug. So you put that website as a / menu.
Right. It's actually QR code.
All right, so now that's their landing page once they scan their QR code.
Right.
So in doing that, like you just said with the cookie, I'm just trying to break this down a little bit further for people because you went over this really quick. Where now, yes, there's cookies in the phone from Smokehouse website. Are you involved with any retargeting companies
Not yet.
that wind up doing the ads?
Not yet, but I'm working on it.
So I
Trying
think
to figure it out.
Yeah, I think we lightly talked about it. Like, there's a lot of Google companies and affiliation companies that will do geo-targeting and fencing. So if
We did
you've
that.
actually gone into this location,
We've done geofencing before.
so you would fence your own place pretty
Yeah,
much.
but now it's a whole new
you,
world.
you don't even have to.
You would fence a
You
place.
face other places.
You'd fence a competitor.
Yeah, but I'm saying with everybody going back to the Smokehouse page, now you could just retarget those IP addresses, which are essentially your phone's internet physical address.
If they have their location on, you can basically see everywhere they go. And then you can identify where your customers are going, and then you can identify places that you want to target to get your future customers. So like our customers, you say, okay, our customers that are coming in here are going A, B, and C. So the people that go to A, B, and C must be people that we would like to advertise to. So then you throw a geo fence around A, B, and C, and you can pull more people from your demographic from those places.
All right, so they hit it, right? They figured out how to use their phones now because they've been doing this everywhere, mostly. And then what you just said was you got root beer back on tap. This is a big deal. People sometimes underlook this.
I don't even think it's a big deal, but you write it in
root
big
beer on tap is a big deal. It's delicious.
Well, it's cool. It's a niche thing, right? Like not everybody has draft root beer.
And it's delicious.
But the big thing is that you're putting the information that you want out first right in their face.
So that's your call to action now.
Yeah, but you don't just put like an ad for draft root beer. You put that like back on tap, big exclamations. So
Get
even
excited.
someone who
Get
might
excited.
Yeah, so even someone who might
Monster
not,
truck flares in the background.
Yeah. Well, not too much because you don't want them to get turned off.
They gotta find the menu still.
Yeah, you gotta find the menu and stuff. It's like you can't click on it or anything. It's just right up there. And then, but you make it like, you have to word it so it's exciting.
Yeah, but
like
it
root beer
like
back
plants the
on
seed.
draft,
It
and
plants
then
the
you see
seed.
it and you're like, oh, back on draft root beer.
So say
what
that
is
you weren't advertising the root beer though, and we just talked in the last episode about the rib rub coming out.
Right.
You can advertise
You can
rib
do
rub
anything.
for sale.
You got a
Get
special
this
like
here.
that, you can change it. And that's the other nice thing about the QR code. You can change it whenever you want to.
Yeah.
It's it's as fast as you can update your website. That's how fast you can change it. You don't have to print anything.
No more waiting for Minuteman to print
Yeah.
out menus
Like,
before
And you didn't
pre-meal.
pay $1 to do
No,
the QR
I paid for the
generation.
generator thing.
You did.
Because it's a dynamic code.
Insane. They used to
it's-
be free.
It's $9 for the year. So it's not.
They used to be a free
You know what I mean?
fucking thing.
Well,
Nobody
no, you can
used
do
them.
it. You can do it for free.
Okay.
But I wanted a. So they have two things.
You want to be able to change it?
I want to be able to change it. So they have one where it'll generate you a QR code for anything, but it's a one-time code. So it generates you the code, and that code links to one thing, but then it's done. I wanted what they call a dynamic code, so I could just have the code there, and then change its link continuously.
Change the destination of that
Right.
code.
Otherwise, I'd have to keep reprinting a new code every time I wanted something.
Yeah.
I wanted a hard code, and then
that is like the smokehouse code.
that's the
and you-
smokehouse code,
yeah.
and then I could change that, whatever that points to, I could change.
Now your table
Whenever.
tents could just change on the fly. You don't have
Right.
to go back to
I don't have to
Minuteman
print new
Press.
tents.
Well, yeah,
it's
you don't
just-
have to print new tents. It's the
Yep.
same code for everything.
Well, which is really ideal at the end of the day. Now let's say this too, right? Can we take this whole QR thing a step further?
Yes, you can. And I got the idea while I was in Maine.
I'll
At another
just-
place.
Nooms, I'm gonna just go wait in the car. Let me know when you guys are ready for me to unplug
I'm sorry.
everything. right?
I'm pretty excited about this.
Nah,
shit.
come on.
It's like, so I was at another place in Maine again, going back to get out of your place and go to other places so you can pick up on different things, right? Like
Yeah, get
Get-
out of the funnel.
get out of your face, whatever. So I'm at another place and I realized, this from, we've always had the rewards program or whatever.
Smoke Squad, 10% off.
No, not but not that.
Shameless
but
plug.
we do a loyalty rewards, right? So every
the points.
yeah,
thing?
so every
Yeah.
$150 you
Yeah.
spend, you get $25 back as long as you have the mobile bites is our
Shout out
POS.
to Bobo, the king of the points.
Oh, he's not even top 5 anymore. dude.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, well, I mean, it's
he's
been-
get whatever. But
Yeah.
anyway,
He's busy.
you get-
He's busy.
Yeah, but you get the points for
Yeah.
whatever you spend. It's always been, got to get people to sign up for this thing. We
Yep.
got to get people to sign up for this
Tell
thing.
them about the points.
Tell them about the points. But it's so hard to get the servers and the bartenders and the to-go guys to be like, oh, by the way, your phone number,
And
it
there's
tracks
like-
your phone number, and
there's
you
a
get
couple
these
steps in the
points. And there's
process you
a
have to
couple
do.
of steps in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
process, and usually we're busy and we're trying to do something else. We don't have time to walk everybody through these points and whatever. This place that I went to had the code there. They had 2 codes. One was their menu or whatever they were doing, and then they like every other table. So it wasn't too much on one table. So it's like one, because then you get confused.
Yeah, and then you don't know what to look at.
But they had it in an area where they had it on one seat. One seat was this, one seat was that. One seat was this, one seat was that. And it said like, oh, download their
Mobile Bytes version.
their
thing,
mobile
yeah.
bites app, whatever. Download our app. Scan this code, download our app, get free shit, whatever it says, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's so I got everybody at the table scanning the stupid code for the menu now, and we got them in that funnel. I was like, all I have to do is make a thing that says get $25 every time you spend $150. Scan this code, download our app,
Yeah.
and then now you have them 2 times. You get them in your app, because the one thing is our app's clunky, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
We don't have a
Again,
native.
there's steps to it.
We don't have a native app. It's not a Smokehouse app. It's our POS app, but that it has a scanner.
Who's the POS provider, by the way?
Mobile Bytes.
Mobile Bytes.
And what it is, when we signed up with them 5 years ago, is they said, we have this QR code technology, and you can scan the QR code on your ticket and get reward. And I said, no one uses a fucking QR code. I was like, why do we have a QR code? This is stupid.
I
Like,
remember
we should
that.
just have an app. And now it's like, hey, everybody uses a QR code. So we already have it, but their app is basically a scan. It's a scan app that scans the QR code that's on the bill and registers it to your
To your
profile.
account, yep. And then you
it
get the
knows how
points for
much you
that.
spend.
Yeah.
But it's any restaurant that's on this POS system has the same thing. So it would show up a bunch of restaurants, but as long as you're at Smokehouse and you're scanning it, it would just bring you to the Smokehouse portal inside that. That's the steps that were always hard for us to do because there was like so many things. Now I can just stick the QR code right on the table and say $25 off or $25 credit every time you spend $150. Scan this thing.
From a marketing standpoint, I would even take that one more forceful step. And I think there's two ways to go about it. Like you just said, when somebody sits at the table, they scan the QR code to get to the menu. You can make that landing page, that's the menu page currently. You can make that landing page now like a split link page where at the top it could say, hey, sign up for our blah, 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 and receive this much money on blah, blah, blah before you place your order. So they could sign up and then place their order and get the rewards right there on the spot. Or because that's kind of like a intrusive, like, do this and it's
you want to
I want the
you want to
menu.
be careful on a page that they have to go to.
Yes.
Right. You don't want to make too many steps on that page.
Yeah, you don't
So
want to, they don't want
that-
to make them feel like
They have to do this thing before they can
they're
get their
watching
food.
commercials or like,
Agree. And that's why my next statement was about to be, you can also put on that website, and it's fairly easy to get the coding to do it. I think you are doing it yourself at this point, right? Mm-hmm. And by the way, Justice self-taught himself how to do these things. I'm not patting him on the back because I used to get paid to do these things for him. But, being a smart individual that can figure out how to do things himself, Google is there for you. Ask Google any question you want, and it's going to give you the goddamn answers. But certainly enough, you can even have that landing page where they're getting to your menu right now. You can have it do a pop-up in 15 seconds of them scrolling through that says, hey, wait. Before you order, if you sign up for this, you can get $25 off of your $100 or whatever. And they could hit the X mark, or they could keep perusing the menu, whatever it is they want to do. But that's also like a not forceful way to do it.
It kind of is.
No, we're used to hitting the X on pop-ups.
Yeah, but
Have you been on Pornhub lately?
you
listen, I don't want pop-ups though.
you
You're like
just
shoving
gotta
a pop-up down
you gotta
someone's
be,
throat.
Yeah, you really got to be careful about the presentation because the more obvious it is, the less you're gonna the subconscious is gonna be there. I was really careful the way I did that banner on top to make sure it didn't pop up above the the menus or anything like that. It's just a really subtle reminder of, hey, we got root beer back, and maybe I'll change it. It says, we're gonna run a beef rib on Saturday or whatever, and just a quick banner that we can change and kind of focus on, because subconsciously. You have to be careful what you're hitting in the guest's subconscious, because it creates a return visit or deters a return visit, whether they know it or not. And that's the line you got to be like real careful about being on.
That's
especially on a page where you're forcing them to go. You're like, no, you want the menu, you have to go here, but I'm gonna barrage you with a bunch of shit first.
Well, I'm not saying like hit them with the little corner advertisement that says like there's 20-year local girls in your neighborhood. Not those ads, you know what I mean?
This kid, bro.
I do like.
He just can't help himself.
Always with the sex.
I
can't
do
help
like
himself.
the what is it? The link tree that Kyle uses.
Yeah.
Kyle and Sarah, real estate.
Blowing up apparently.
He's everything. But we've talked to him a few times on here now too. But he uses Linktree in his profiles for everything. And what the Linktree does is once you click it, it brings you to the top of the tree, if you will. And then underneath, they have all the different link directions that you can go. So one will take you to send him an email. One will take you to his phone number if you need be. Another one might be like a video about what I do, which kind of lets people choose, direction on where to go.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
might be his OnlyFans.
One might be his $3.99 recurring fee foot pics on his OnlyFans. I don't know, Kyle, if you do that or not. But yeah, there's a handful of different things that have opened up as far as the QR codes go, and it's so easy now that we've trained everybody to do it that you could almost spoon feed them whatever you want, advertisingly. And as Justin said, don't force it down their throat.
You can tell this guy's a salesman. He's talking about advertising on your menu page. That's all he's talking about.
Yeah. I mean, we're all salesmen, dude.
Nah, but it's different. It's different.
It's not different. Everybody's selling something.
It's different.
I am hyped. That was a good episode. I'm ready to go home and get some QR codes done. I'm going to design 17 QR codes tonight. Put them all over the place.
17 QR codes.
No, I'm not.
That's really going to do things for your algorithm.
It was a good talk, though. It was a good talk, guys.
Guys, don't forget to smash that like and subscribe button because, algorithms.